Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. It has been a while since I actually uploaded a video. I know it's not been that long, but it does feel like a long time. Sometimes I forget that I actually do this, it seems. Oh well, there we go. That was my attempt at humour. So I'm sure some of you wish you could forget as well. But yes, this is the turn for the 12th of March. There's frankly not a lot that had to be done here. I had been busy as of the last few days, really, but really didn't take too long to get the turn done. We're kind of going through things pretty well. I'm going to wait another day over here at Palembang so I can actually reduce some of this fatigue and disruption over here. Once that's gone down a little bit more, then I can attack. What I would potentially like to coincide... I mean, this is it. We could probably go for this, but I don't want to have them too battered. We didn't have a bad result, but I think it's definitely worthwhile waiting. What I'm going to do over here at Singapore is I'm going to have them rest. But what I'm going to do here then is have the artillery open fire upon the defenders of Singapore. The reason being it gives the actual divisions the time to rest there, which is good news. We do have the actual two army headquarters crossing over to Singapore as well shortly, so that will give us the additional support there that is required to help us out. And probably not during the battle. I should have had them moved over a long time ago, but this is it. There's little things like this that you begin to learn and pick up as you go along. But the 38th Division is on its way. I probably might get a full turn's benefit of the headquarters, potentially for rest. We'll have to see about that, really. But they're finally moving over there. The end of Singapore is definitely within sight. But we've learned a lot of lessons over here. Definitely learned a lot of lessons, but it is finally coming towards an end now, which is always a good thing. What we're doing as well, what I'm going to do is actually, we need to get the actual damage on the airfield. That absolutely does need to be done. See, the thing is, it's been an interesting situation over here at Singapore, because THG has fought for it a lot longer than, let's say, the Deadman campaign. He hasn't fought as hard for Singapore's airspace as, well, as THG has. So it's an interesting scenario. I've had to be more wary, and obviously we did get hit with the carriers not too long ago. So that has actually slowed us down a lot in a lot of ways, actually. But what we're going to do is we're going to reverse that situation. I'm going to employ the bombers over here. Only on 70%. 30% of them are going to be hitting the airfields. But what we'll do then is we'll steadily increase that. I do have the KI-43s over here running sweeps. What I'm going to do is, in fact, have them run escorts, just because at the end of the day, they're better at doing the escorts. What I'm going to do then is I should break them up and make sure they do that though. So send over KI-43s to do that. Make sure they're set over Singapore then. The reason being, I can get a good chunk of them out there. Escorting the actual bombers, there's more chance that they are there. He may yet choose to actually fight again at Singapore's airfield, but I'm not too certain. He can feel that the end is going to come in as well, so I don't think he's going to be risking it. He did take some losses over here, as we did as well. We did hit some of the shipping over here as well, which is a good start. It's a good start. It wasn't tremendously effective, and I figure that's obviously down to the amount of fatigue. We did consider that, but at least we have put a message through. What I'm going to do here, first and foremost, is I'm going to give the actual aircraft time to rest. What I'm going to do is, as well, so these guys have a lot of damage, which I'm going to have to repair there. I'm going to try and, once they're repaired, I'm going to move them elsewhere. The paratroopers over here at Port Blair, they're going to have to just kind of suck it up and deal with it, and we'll relieve them when we are able to do so. But until then, really, there's not tremendous amounts I can do. Singapore isn't too far away from falling, so that's good news. But if it buys his attention, well, turns his attention elsewhere, then that's fine. It did cost him some buffaloes to actually defend it, really. So that's fine. If they're gone, I'll just reconstitute them at a later date. I have gone ahead and bought out a good number of actual reconnaissance aircraft from China, so we can actually have significantly better detection levels and just have a significantly better idea of what's going on across the board. So what I'll do is probably have one or potentially two of those in Indochina, but I'll definitely have at least one of them sent down to this region so we can actually keep an eye on what's going on over here, really. We are getting to the point now when I'm starting to build up the actual momentum that we needed so long ago. But the momentum is being built up, and it will continue to build now as we get more proficient, more able, really, as well, which is a good thing to take into consideration. What I need to do is, you can see that we do have the 4th Division at long last finally reformed, which is excellent news, absolutely excellent news. You can see they're planning for Semarang, which is a level 5 pole, which is excellent news. So yeah, what we need to do then is get Singapore done, get her done. I need to take Sumatra, a good chunk of Sumatra, and then we can move upon Java. We will, of course, move in upon Burma. Now, Burma's obviously going to be more difficult due to the fact that THG's put an effort into that. He's had a lot longer to fortify it as well, so it's going to be a tougher fight. But what we're going to do then is we're going to have to be coy. We do have the MKB, which is the mini, not so mini Kidipidai, frankly. But they're moving towards Bibaldar for the time being. I think what I might in fact do is actually have the carrier aircraft from aboard the MKB actually transition to land bases and use them potentially to help us out. What I might do then is actually have the ships of the Kidipidai, the MKB, to move potentially to Hong Kong or Saigon or even potentially Singapore. Singapore would be excellent in the near future really once we do take that, as it does have a very large shipyard, well a fairly large shipyard there, 51,000 ton capacity. So what I could do is I could actually have the carriers repaired, and then when we're ready we could have a foray out into the Indian Ocean. He does have his carriers around here somewhere. We have had indications that his carriers are potentially in the south, somewhere in this sort of region over here really. It does seem very likely that he's going to either potentially head back this way. He could of course come back, but his movements indicate that he's headed this way, which is intriguing enough. I do have an operation in mind for the combined fleet to cause some damage over here to Fiji. Now, the reason for that is, actually that could be really particularly useful to us, especially if he's intended to come back around with the actual carriers, American carrier, I should say, getting tongue-tied there, because we could potentially reduce the airfields in the Fiji area to being worthless, which is not a bad idea, really. I mean, this is it. If I do that, if we can reduce those airfields to nothing, then he's not going to have LBA support. Ultimately, if we can try to take out any of the bloody PBYs, that'd be great news. But taking out a good chunk of his B-17s would be really nice. But he's put a lot of investment in this area. We need to try and turn that to essentially ash, to dust. That would be quite nice. We're not going to be invading there anytime soon, which is a shame. But hey, c'est la vie, what can be done? Nothing much, not for a while. Over here at Port Moresby, I am going to go ahead and order an attack. Not a shock attack, because I'm not mad. But we are going to order an attack. These guys are actually not doing too bad. The disruption is actually pretty damn low. Our fatigue is not bad at all, really. And we are going to go with an attack over here. They also do have 74 planning, which is excellent news. I mean, this is it. There's no more mines over here at Buna. So once Port Moresby has been subdued, or at least I'm comfortable enough that there's no aircraft, I'm going to be running the Jakes over here on reconnaissance on Port Moresby in the day. The bombardment force made up of the actual 4 heavy cruisers over here will be arriving in time to bombard as well. What I'm going to do here then is we're going to have some of these continue to run naval switch in the daytime. I'm going to have one of them switch over to nighttime. So we're going to do a nighttime there. What I'm going to do then is have one of these guys set to reconnaissance during the night as well. And just to try and increase the amount of reconnaissance available to us, really. There we go. Reconnaissance, there we go, okay. So at least they'll have some reconnaissance gathered during the night, ideally. We'll be aware of potentially what's going on during the night as well around us, which would be nice. Obviously try and keep them alive, that would always be a handy thing there. What I'm going to do then is actually give them a much heavier amount of long-range cap and make sure they actually survive. That's obviously a bloody good thing, really. There we go. These guys are going to be taking the actual additional troops over here to Rabal. What I'm going to do then is actually move these assets out of the area, move the construction units around as we get the ability to do so, and then we'll go from there, really. It's an interesting situation. I think maybe there is potential plans in the Pacific that we could put into operation. I do toy with the idea of potentially laying an island, potentially islands in that area. But I think the real key islands that we are going to have to try to attempt to secure in the future would be Palmyra, would be the Line Islands in general. So I think in the future, the Phoenix Islands might be potentially worthwhile building up. There's a couple islands together, which is not too bad. They're not amazing, but they're not too bad. I could potentially have something built there. But yes, what we're going to do then is just try to cause as much pain. And this is the thing. He's realised the danger, in my opinion. But this is obviously my conjecture here. Conjecture? I think that's it, isn't it? I might be using the wrong word there. And that's it. YouTube is trying to be smart and all with their language. I'm not that smart. But you guys know that. And hey, we all try to improve, don't we? So, there we go. Indeed. I do think he is bringing them back around here as a response to the fact that he realizes that, yeah, we're not afraid to use our carriers, especially when we know where the vast majority, if not all of his carriers are. It's going to be an interesting situation. It could be a very dangerous situation, but the thing is, he can only do so much by having his carriers concentrated, because frankly, we can figure out where they are. If I know where they are, I can really take that into consideration and actually plan for that. I mean, New Caledonia would be an excellent situation to try and bring him into, really. Let's hope he's overconfident, because that could be really, that could be disastrous. That could be disastrous for him. And this is it. I'm building up these airfields. We're going to have a level 4 airfield over here at Fate in the near future. And what I'm going to do then is actually move construction units over here to Tanna. I'm going to build up all these islands. As much as I can, I'm going to build these islands up. I mean, we even have this little island over here. I didn't even know I had a dot on it. But it's got a little dot on it. It can be built up to size 5. That's excellent. Absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. There's lots of little islands. Like, that can be built up. Incredibly, it produces resources, which is intriguing. Yeah, there's all these little islands over here that we're not even taking into consideration because I've never even noticed that there were dots on them. But this is it. This is a lot of bases in the area that can be built up. If we take a look at that, command radius of 4. So if I go ahead and see here, so that's... let's count all the bases within... Well, all the bases where we could build airfields. So obviously got the one over here, but I'm not going to count that. But, well, actually, we'll go ahead for the total amount. So 1... Well, actually, no, I'm going to exclude that. So let's see. 1, 2... 3, 4, 5, minimum within 4, 6, 7, 8, oh, almost. Yeah, so that is a good chunk there. That's a good chunk. What I could do in the future is I could actually change this out to a fleet headquarters, which would have a command radius of 5, which would obviously put these guys into range. But what I could always do then is actually move around these headquarters with ferries. But this is it. I don't need to be able to use torpedoes at every one of these bases. But if I can actually build up all of these bases, then that gives me the ability to actually have the ability to move our aircraft. Actually, to have support in place is going to take some time, but that can be done. But to have a number of airfields available would be really quite nice. It would definitely turn this area into quite the deadly little conundrum for him, really. Yeah, there we go. And over here on Numea, we are building up. It's building up to level 3 airfield. It's going to take a long time, really. Whether I do or not remains to be seen. But it's a good base. It's a decent base. It's jungle rough. It's a port, of course. It's got some light industry there, so there's a little bit of actual production of supply, which is a tiny amount, something like 10 supply. But that still makes a difference in the long run, really. As is it, it's a small amount, but you know what, I'd rather have it than not have it, so nah, there we go. Over in China, I'm going to have these divisions march on towards his forces over here. I did consider actually using the LBAs against him, but I don't think it's particularly worthwhile. It could be done, but I'm going to see what it does. I don't want to give him the impression that... Actually, I don't even think it's an impression, really. I just think it's a case of, well, if I use the bombers over here... He may be incentivized to use the fighters, so we'll see. We'll see. I'm going to try and give him, I don't know, a little bit of leeway and see what he does with it, really. See if he'll give us a little bit of rope to sort of, like, tie nukes around there. See if he'll give us that sort of, like, entryway in there. But that was a very nice victory around Anyang. Ultimately, pretty insignificant. Doesn't really do that much. It doesn't really change the situation over here. I think it was a bit of a mistake for him to bring his forces to Nanyang. I could kind of see what it was doing, but it seems like he wasn't able to actually catch us due to that we'd moved down over here. But that's the beauty of a major road. It works in both directions, really, as roads tend to do. But this is it. If he's going to be looking towards playing like that, it's not going to work. Not very well. And this is the issue here. He's done all of that. He's expended all those men. And nothing's really happened. We've just gained. It was a big victory, it was a surprisingly large victory, but hey, I'll take those. We don't get many of them nowadays. But yeah, this is it. We'll see what happens. If he does retreat, then okay, that's brilliant. I'll just move a division over here and we'll hold out in the jungle rough, or the wooded rough. Ideally continues to fall back, but hey, probably not. Probably not. In which case, then, okay, what I might do is just actually position a unit here, just on the other side of the riverbank. Who knows, really? Who knows? I don't really particularly want to hold out in clear terrain. So it might be that we just have a unit sit in Nanyang or sit over here somewhere, just kind of wait it out and just try and keep an eye on him. I don't think he'll go and do the same thing twice, but who knows? He'll probably wait until we commit. The good news is I do have plenty of more forces, including tanks, moving on their way toward Hankow. They can then either move under their own, well, they're going to be moved out by a train to Xinjiang likely, or even over here to Chengchao. But we'll be able to get a much larger force out this way. I was considering bringing artillery and engineers down this way in armor, but I think it's, for the most part, I can take this slow. I can take that fairly slow. I mean, these are nice, but they're not going to make that much of a difference. I've got the cities that are pretty good. We'll just march on here slowly but surely. And the thing is as well, if he's staying out here, also I'm going to have these guys actually go with bombardment until I do have some additional forces arrive, perhaps. We'll see. I want to give it a measure of how strong that division is. But the good news is I kind of enjoy the fact we can actually force him to use additional supply in that area. He doesn't have a huge amount of supply. And that's going to hurt. He just burned his supply all over in China, and that's brilliant news for us. And I don't know how much he's burned in a turn. I'd love to know, but hey, we can't know that. But there we go. So, not a tremendous amount ongoing, really. A lot of things are just in motion, really. Motion of the ocean, that's what they're doing there. So, go with March 12th. 42. Yeah, things are in motion. We're getting there now. And this is it. Once Singapore falls, once Palembang falls, that's when the campaign opens up for us. That's when things really, really do get moving once again. Because we've become quite static and that can simply not last. But we have the 4th Division reassembled, which is excellent news. We're not too far away from the actual end now. We're getting there. We are getting there. So what I'm going to do here then is make sure I've gotten everything done that I wanted to do in this turn. And this has been a pretty quick and dirty summary. So thank you there for watching, ladies and gentlemen. And to all of you, my existing viewers, you guys are awesome. And to all of you new viewers out there, whenever you do, if you ever do in fact catch this video, actually watch up to this point because it's a pretty late on point. Then please do consider subscribing. And I hate to beg, as you guys know. I guess. I suppose I'm not good at that. If you have enjoyed my content, please do consider becoming a patron of mine. It is much appreciated, especially with university and the incoming months this year. I'm going to have to try and be able to balance things out, really. The dream is to find an apartment with 2 bedrooms, so I can set one of them up as like a studio, and maybe do things a little bit more professionally, and, well, actually be able to continue. That'd be nice. But there we go. Thank you for watching there, ladies and gentlemen. Arigato gozaimasu. Gozaimasu. Indeed. Thank you so very much. I hope you have a great evening, and I shall see you in the future. Goodbye for now. Ayasumi nasai.